Good evening to those of you joining us live. Thank you to those of you checking in later, either on YouTube or in podcast format. We appreciate you taking some of your time to spend it with us. Let's light this candle. Favorite time of my week. My name is Rod Morgan. I'm going to be joined by three of my friends. We are going to talk about sports the way you might talk about sports when you're having a few brews. And you could have a few brews this weekend. Thanksgiving on the horizon, holiday weekend. Joining us is the executive producer of this podcast, co-host of this podcast, if you will. Jimmy will be taking over the driving duties in the second half. His name is James Thomas Jamriska. Jimmy, hello.
Rod, I love football. It plays with my heart, but I love football once again. Bear down.
Streak is alive. Streak is alive. The man wearing his IU hat proudly again. Stone Cold supporting his number 2 in the nation, Hoosiers and Star Wars. It's the old man, Chris King. Chris, hello.
You know how much I love you guys, Rod. I'm literally missing the second half of IU versus Kansas State basketball tonight just to be on the pod right now. That's how much I love you guys.
I appreciate that, but I almost think that Thanksgiving is more to blame here than it is just how much you love us. We'll leave the listeners to decide which one is more the reason why we're going on a Tuesday night. But we can't podcast and talk about the NFL, which we will here shortly after we get to the cold open question, without our football handicapper, our man that knows the percentages, our man that says DFS more than anybody else in America. His name is Josh Williams. Josh, hello.
What's up, boys? I am also missing the second half of the IU Kansas State game, so that's something me and Chris have in common. But went 1-1 against the spread last week, and ironically, both my teams went down 21-0. So not exactly how I wanted it to go right off the bat. But props to Chris's Cowboys; they came back and actually won that game, so they covered. The Sunday night game was brutal. I apologize to all the Baker enthusiasts out there. I probably jinxed Tampa and Baker with the separated shoulder there, and that was ugly. That was an ugly Sunday night game. So I had no chance right from the start in that game. So we'll try to get back going here this week, 2-0. Let's go.
Things have been getting a little bit ugly for Tampa Bay. We'll see if that comes up when we get to football. But we start with the cold open question of the week. Always some fun to be had at the beginning of the show. Thanksgiving is around the corner. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Perhaps you're listening to this episode now on your way to Thanksgiving or on your way back. Maybe you're about to fall asleep because you're having a food hangover. We appreciate it. But if we're talking Thanksgiving, let's go back to the first Thanksgiving and let's find out how smart these three gentlemen are right here about some facts about the first ever Thanksgiving in America.
Hey, whoa. Williams and I need odds. Chris was there. This is not fair.
Yeah.
Not fair at all.
That's a very good point, Jimmy. I also wonder if you and I being pilgrims at one point in our life actually helps us to be a little bit better at this, right? Graduates of Plymouth High School. We are proud pilgrims ourselves. Perhaps that puts us at advantage. Let's go to Williams here, our odds maker. Williams, what are the odds that Chris wins this or the odds that Jimmy or I? Well, actually, I'm out because I have the answers in front of me, but you know what I mean? The actual pilgrim, which one?
I'm definitely at a disadvantage here because I'm not a pilgrim. Chris is probably like minus 250 here. Jimmy's like probably like plus 325. I'm probably plus $1 million here. I have no chance.
All right, there we go. Let's start basic. All right. And then we have a video component here. Okay. So whoever I see's hand pop up first, all right, will be able to give me the answer. All right. The first Thanksgiving occurred where? Chris?
It was Jamestown, right?
It was not Jamestown. No, it was not Jamestown. Do we have any other answers? The first Thanksgiving occurred where?
Plymouth, Massachusetts.
It was Plymouth, Massachusetts. Jimmy Jamriska is correct. Plymouth,
I wanted
Massachusetts.
to give Chris, what were you doing that first Thanksgiving that you don't remember? That's my question, sir.
Slept a lot since then, Jimmy. All right.
Speaking
You tell me
of a
what you
lot
were doing
since
20
then.
years ago on a random Thursday, and I can tell you what happened in the 1600s.
There we go. Okay, Chris, there another little hint there. The second question, what year was the first Thanksgiving in Plymouth, Massachusetts?
Go ahead, Chris. I'm going to 1983. That's my guess.
That is
1983.
not correct. It was not 1983.
I'm going to guess 1618, but 1642 also seems weird that it's in my
you
head.
You were closer with 1618. 1621. The first
Nice.
Thanksgiving was a 3-day harvest feast in Plymouth, Massachusetts. All right. And we, of course, had the Pilgrims. And do we know the name of the Native American tribe that the Pilgrims celebrated Thanksgiving with? Do we know the name of the tribe? It is not Running Zach. Shout out to our Saved by the Bell episode from a little while back.
Was it the Iroquois?
I'll give you a hint. It starts with a W. The tribe name starts with a W.
Wawasee.
Ooh, Jimmy Wawasee. That is a former Northern Lakes Conference member up here in northern Indiana, but that is not correct. It is Wampanoag. The Wampanoag Indians.
Williams like, I knew it. I just didn't say it yet.
Yeah, it was on the tip
All
of
right,
my
and now
tongue.
I have one last question for you.
Chris and
All
I are
right?
tied with one, I think, right?
Do you know the name of the governor of the Pilgrims and the leader of the Indians that signed the peace treaty that brought about the first ever Thanksgiving? I'll take either one. The name of the Indian leader or the governor of the Pilgrim colony in Massachusetts.
John Smith.
That's exactly what
not
I was
John
going to
Smith.
guess.
His first name was John, but it was not. His last name was not Smith.
Come on, Williams.
Come on,
John
Williams, fire
C-
out one guess.
John Sierra.
It was not John Sierra. In March 1621, Governor John Carver and Massasoit signed a peace treaty that lasted for over 50 years that pledged mutual protection, rules of conduct, and a political pact. But unfortunately, it deteriorated 40 years later when the Indian chief died. His son attacked the settlers. The settlers said, "This is garbage," and we all know what happened there. Got really, really bad for the Native Americans. But there you go. First Thanksgiving facts. Jimmy, did you think you'd do better at that?
I'm surprised I got one. So I'm going to take my tie. I'm fine with that.
Chris, now, do you want me to give you the way that you were actually somewhat possibly correct? Chris, do you want me to give you that?
You can give it to me since I was closest without going over.
I think you were right. You missed it by 4 years. and it
3.
was fine.
Historians note that earlier recorded Thanksgiving services were held in North America, in Berkeley Hundred, Virginia, in 1619. So, all right, Chris, your 1618 was real close there, okay? And there were even reports that there were a type of Thanksgiving situation in 1607 in Jamestown with none other than John Smith.
So we both got 2, I think.
So I get mixed up by confusing harvest festivals with Thanksgiving because they're essentially the same thing.
There you go. So that's your fun facts about Thanksgiving. And Jimmy, the reason I did that, right, is because anybody can say, "What's your favorite Thanksgiving side?" That's never been done on a podcast before. You know what I mean? Like, I asked you guys on a year before, I believe it was last year, come up with a different Thanksgiving centerpiece meal, right? Like, we're running out of things to do here, Jimmy. We've been podcasting for years now. This is the best I could do.
I think this is episode 388 or something like that. So yeah, we've been do the math on that. We're consistent, people.
That's right. There's a few Thanksgivings that we've gone over, but we're happy to be here again. Let's do what we do best on Thanksgiving time, talk football. Our 3 teams were involved in probably the 3 games of the weekend. Let's start with the one that was frankly the most fun because none of us are Eagles fans. How about them Cowboys, Chris? Let's go on.
Right? You can't count us out. And who would have thought that it would have been our defense that helped and stepped up in that second half, right? I didn't think that we were going to shut them down like that. I was disheartened. During halftime hit at the end of the second quarter, I went to work to do a couple little things before halftime was over, right? That's how upset I was. And thankfully I decided to come back because what a second half and what some unbelievable catches that we saw in that fourth quarter too.
So I got to admit, I started getting a little bit bored with games and I fired up my PlayStation and I got a little bit of my 2K going, but I had the Cowboys-Eagles game going over on the side TV with no volume, Jimmy. And I kept noticing, I was like, every time I look up, I'm like, it actually seems like the Cowboys are kind of moving the ball. Like, I don't understand why the Eagles are winning this thing here. And so I wasn't really all that surprised when the Cowboys came back at the end. Were you? It kind of feels like this is the way they are now.
No, I didn't at all because I was the same way. It was on, but we were kind of doing other things, and I kept looking, and it's like, and Dak did it again, and they did it again, and that's who they are. They just have the offense, and for whatever reason, the Eagles just didn't do anything. They had a couple of really bad turnovers, and it just nothing went their way. It was really,
you guys
really
didn't
bad.
watch the first half, because the first half is the complete opposite of what you're describing, right? First half, Dallas offense couldn't do anything.
I'm sorry. That second half is what I was talking about, Chris.
Philly looked dominant. Like, we couldn't do anything either side of the ball. So, yeah, the first half, you thought this was going to be a blowout. Philly looks like they're the defending Super Bowl champs. But, nope.
Williams,
how about them
you're
Cowboys?
The handicapper here. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Williams, you're the handicapper here. Is this game saying more about the Cowboys possibly making a late season run, or should people be a little bit worried about the Eagles as one of the dominant teams in the NFC?
So that's a very, very good question. I think a little bit of both. I would be higher on the Cowboys if their schedule wasn't so tough here coming up. But I mentioned last week that they had 3 straight games against teams that had won 14 games last year, first time in NFL history. And I thought that their best chance to win one of those games was against Philly. Just because I liked what I saw in that previous week's game against the Raiders. I know the Raiders are terrible, but I don't know. The Cowboys just look super focused. It was probably they wanted to show out for their fallen teammate. But when was the last time you said something about the Cowboys that they were focused? You know, they have talent on offense, but usually under Mike McCarthy, you know how many penalties they had all the time. They were just so sloppy. And that Raiders game, I was super impressed by how focused they looked. And then they came out, and Chris was right. The first quarter and a half, they were terrible against Philly. They're making all kinds of mistakes. But I never really thought that game was out of hand, because we've seen this Philadelphia offense go into just a shell of themselves in the second half before. And I still don't trust Philly's offensive coordinator. He's just not doing a good job getting the ball to where it needs to go. So I don't know, man. I think Philly has some issues, but that defense is going to keep them in some games. And Dallas, with Quinnen Williams, has improved the rushing defense and a few other things. So I think Dallas has a chance to sneak in the playoffs here, but Philly will probably still end up probably as a 2 seed. And so they're going to be tough, especially if you have to go into Philly and beat them.
Yeah, Philly showed us last year that you don't want to necessarily lock in what they're like now. They're going to maybe possibly become a different team when we hit those playoff games. So speaking of playoff games, and speaking of an offense just absolutely falling apart and being a different team in the second half, Jimmy Jam, I think I know that Chris is still going to be waving his cheerleader flag here for the Colts no matter what, but I got to be honest, I'm a little worried about the performance we've seen out of the Colts these last couple of weeks, right? Just some things look off, and you got to say to yourself, at least I am, we're going to start playing much better teams. The Colts schedule gets pretty tough here the rest of the year out. I'm a little bit worried. Jimmy Jam, how about you?
I'm worried about the play calling, honestly, with Shane Steichen in that fourth quarter and overtime. There was a point where they could have let about a minute and a half go off the clock, and they only let like 30 seconds. They weren't handing the ball to Taylor at the end of the game. You don't really want Danny Dimes thrown outside very much. It really did worry me, because I thought that's how they were going to start the game. They started the game a lot different. They came out, it's like, oh, they should win this game easily. But you always know, it doesn't matter with Patrick Mahomes. He's going to get 5 roughing the passer calls, which, oh my goodness, first of all, like in general, like I'm not a homer, but come on, some of those. So I was really more worried about the play calling, though. I didn't like
Williams. That's he said play calling. I was going to come to Chris, but we'll let Chris be the hammer on this one. I'm coming to you since Jimmy brought up play calling there. Should we be worried? Because Jonathan Taylor's not looked incredibly great the last couple of weeks either. You know, this Colts offense just is a little bit stagnant. If people caught up to him, is it Steichen making bad calls? What are we doing?
No, I mean, they want to set up. They actually pass a lot to get a lead. And then if you look at JT's stats, man, JT's touchdown stats, he tears it up in the second half. So if you dive deep into Steichen's play calling, I think you'd be pretty pleased with it if you compared it to the other 32 offensive coordinators. I know what Jimmy's talking about, but this is the second time now where I have upgraded. I'm opposite of you, Rod. I'm super high on this Colts team now. Second time that I've upgraded the Colts after a loss. And I think the 2 best minds in this game were Lou Anarumo and Steve Spagnuolo. I think they took over this game. And if you're a Colts fan, you got to feel real good about the history of Lou Anarumo versus Patrick Mahomes. Remember the AFC Championship game in 2020 on the road in KC with Cincy, Mahomes dropped back 39 times. This was when the Chiefs' offense was rolling with Tyreek. They held Mahomes to 275 yards and picked him off 2 times en route to an OT win on the road. Lou Anarumo has played Mahomes 7 times. He's only blitzed 14% of the time in those games. Like, he knows how to maneuver around Mahomes. It may not always result in a victory. Those games are always close, man. And I think he has had the blueprint to slow down Mahomes. You don't blitz him. You only rush 2, 3, maybe 4. And I don't know. To me, there's 3 teams that could go to the Super Bowl from the AFC, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs, that's the Denver Broncos, and that is your Indianapolis Colts. Those are the only 3 teams, in my opinion, that are going to the Super Bowl from the AFC.
All right, that's why Josh Williams is the handicapper, folks. He can go to the defensive coordinator. He can call up past performances the defensive coordinator has against the quarterback. That's all well and good. I see a couple big differences between the Lou Anarumo coach team in 2020 and this team. And it's not just the fact that that one was orange and black and this one is blue and white. That one had Joey Burrow as the quarterback on the other side of his defense, and this one has Danny Dimes. Chris, tell me why I should not be worried about Danny Dimes possibly turning into a pumpkin here.
I think it's realistic, Rod, that we're going to see probably one more bad game, right? But I think that's going to be the exception. I think we've seen the norm, all right? They played in 11 games. We've seen him be bad once. Not great another time, right? But I have more of a problem with, and I'm going to agree with Jimmy here, that the play calling, especially in that fourth quarter, didn't jive up. I think JT only got 3 carries in the fourth quarter. If Sykin's calling those plays like Williams is saying, he needs to touch the ball even more than in that fourth quarter, use up some of that time because we still had a lead.
Well, we'll have plenty of time to think about Steichen's play calling moving forward. Williams got to circle back for us before we move on to touch on your Bears.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you have to give credit. Sometimes fans don't give enough credit to the other team's defense and their defense coordinator. The Chiefs are very good stopping the run. And so you have to think about that. Also, I know the Colts don't have Joe Burrow, but the Bengals, didn't have Shane Steichen. They had Joe Burrow and they had the terrible Zach Taylor. So Joe Burrow brought them into the Super Bowl. I think Shane Steichen is good enough to carry Indianapolis into the Super Bowl.
Taylor's like, what did I do? He's like, this guy Williams is always taking shots at me. We weren't even talking about me. And somehow I got to get shots in there.
Is that Zach Taylor and Arthur Smith? They need to go. Come on, dude. We got to get them out of the league.
Arthur Smith, he was playing against your Bears with his Steelers, and your Bears, they just followed the same game script. Just have everybody on the edge of their absolute seats and pull one out of their butts at the end. They out-Steelers the Steelers, Jimmy. They out-Steelers the Steelers.
I love Caleb Williams. I love him. I think he's great. He's in his second year. His 23rd start, 24th start. How in the hell are you throwing that ball when you're in the end zone? It was so funny. I was watching, I don't like when he's back there like that. And what does he do? Here's a touchdown for you. So we almost gave that away. I want to shout out, though, the linebackers. We had none, okay? All of our linebackers were hurt. Had to bring him in. The 2 leading tacklers, 2 linebackers off the street. They were on the team, but 9 tackles between 2 of our new linebackers. How about that? That was amazing. The running game wasn't on as much as it has been. It's weird. They ran the ball 25 times. DeAndre Swift had only got, 4 or 5 carries. Not there. He got 8 carries, sorry. He got 8 carries, so that was strange. Big shout out, though. Final thing, and then I'll stop, because I thought this was a really fun game. Mason Rudolph, huge run with under 2 minutes to go. Huge run, first down, puts him in field goal range. And we had a penalty that was illegal formation. And then they cut to a replay where Aaron Rodgers is on the sidelines. And Aaron Rodgers is like, it's illegal formation. And then they hike the ball and they call illegal formation. I thought that was kind of cool. So, Aaron, sorry you didn't get to play, but you did lose. Your team lost. So that's fine.
Early on in that game, though, I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, Bears fans are really going to be going crazy if they can't beat a team that Aaron Rodgers is just on. He's not even quarterbacking the team, but he's just on, and they still can't beat them. Williams, were you thinking that for a while?
He would have been on every talk show, everything. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Bears have 5 wins now while trailing in the last 2 minutes of the game.
Oh.
That's 7 This is what we do. Yeah, 7-1 when they have at least one takeaway. And I don't want to mention this, but the Bears they're 8-3. They still have a negative point differential.
Hey, guess what?
Are you saying
Guess what
smoke
doesn't
and mirrors?
matter?
Are you saying smoke and mirrors again, Williams? Is that what you're trying not to
Okay,
say?
you say smoke and mirrors again when they have the biggest rushing defense. I mean, come on.
The schedule toughens up here, so let's see what they can do here.
Williams being a realist. I love it.
I hate you.
Man, I love this team though. This you can tell how much a good coach matters. I mean, this is Ben Johnson carrying this team into the playoffs. Honestly, man, there's no way this team.
We do not apologize.
There's no way this team is going to the playoffs last year with Eberflus running this team this year. So props to our Lord and Savior.
All right, Chris.
Wait. There's a dark cloud, Rod. There's a dark cloud coming. Oh, it's Chris King to talk about the Bears.
I was gonna say, yeah, Chris. I'll give you the last word here. This Bears voodoo has to just be driving you crazy.
You ain't getting the last word. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay, just a couple things I wanted to point out. Yes, the Bears are second in the NFL in rushing yards per game, but they are also 27th in total yards on their defense, 21st on passing defense, 28th in rushing defense, 20th in scoring defense. They have something in common with the Patriots, Rod, another team that I really, really dislike, and that would be they have the two easiest schedules in the NFL right now, the Bears and the Patriots. Easiest schedule, no wonder they have two of the best records.
You know why it's
Paper
easy
tiger,
schedule? Because
says
they've
Chris
beaten
King.
everybody, so
Paper tiger.
their records go down.
Yeah, you know what the Rams have been doing? Having a better record than the Bears with the ninth toughest schedule in the NFL.
Look at Chris.
They're the Rams. They should be playing well. We're the Bears,
Caping for
Chris.
the
We're not
LA
supposed to do
Rams.
this.
Caping for the LA Rams. Speaking of capes, who put on the cape and was the face of the week, Jimmy? I know who it was because I went against this guy in fantasy and he absolutely trounced me.
So I've got to give it to a Thanksgiving staple, Detroit Lions. Yeah, they got to win. Kind of, they got to win there. But Jaymr Gibbs, 15 carries, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, 11 catches, 45 yards, and a touchdown. Man was a monster. Had up to 50 points, I think, in some fantasy leagues because of all those receiving yards and touchdowns. Jaymr Gibbs is amazing and is, if not the best, one of the couple best running backs in the league.
You know who else is amazing, though, Jimmy? Jameis. Jameis is the man.
Yeah, I could have given it to him, too. He almost got him there, Rod. I felt for you there. He scored a touchdown. That was cool.
Absolutely it was. Everything Jameis
Gibbs was
does
such
is
a
cool,
beast.
man.
Gibbs was such a beast and such a man. He also won the Leatherhead this week, Rod.
Really?
Jimmy didn't know it. But listen, you want to talk about a dude that just said, hey, let me just do this myself because no one else can help. He had over like 54% of all the yards the Lions got that day. Handled it by himself in overtime. Like I gave JT props a couple weeks ago for what he did in Atlanta, right? He had to touch the ball 35 times, JT did during that game. Gibbs did it with only 26 touches. He was averaging 14 yards a carry. Insane.
Just so you don't get called out that Taylor did that in Germany. Colts played the Falcons in Germany. It wasn't in Atlanta. Who knows what he would have been able to do down there in Atlanta if he'd have been able to go to Buckhead the day before. Come on, look out.
That was probably a good thing.
All right, so there's the face of the week and the leatherhead, Jaymr Gibbs. Jimmy, who was the anti-heel. Or, I mean, the anti-face. In other words, the heel.
The anti-heel. We're gonna try something we haven't done here before, Rod. I'm gonna show you a little video here. We might get thrown off, but that's okay. This is a little Niners Panthers game here. As you can see,
his first game. Take a look.
Whoa!
Hey!
Whoa!
Goodness, how's your father? Fine.
Yeah. So, Juwan Jennings got doubled over by our heel of the week, Trayvon Merring, who was just suspended one game without pay for that nice little punch to the groinal area. I thought it was pretty cool, though. There was no fight directly after that because the game was still going on. The fight came after the game was over.
Is that an equivalent to getting spit on or spitting on somebody? I would say this is much more egregious than getting spit on.
I mean, as I agree completely. I mean, the whole disrespect thing is whatever. People are idiots, but with the spitting. But this is you're going after something you know is going to hurt. I agree, Chris. I agree with Chris.
Yeah, I think.
Rod, what do you think?
I've been spit on before, and it's terrible and it's disrespectful and all the above. But you wipe your face off and you move on. I don't know that I want to get. I don't know if I want to get hit down there as hard as it looked like that guy got hit down there. All right, like Connie McKesson. You know, what I mean, shout out to you wherever you are. God bless you if you're listening to this podcast. She spit in my face when we were in high school, and it really was okay. I moved on. It wasn't that big of a deal.
Was that during TCOM or no?
Oh yeah, Jimmy. Remember she was she was in no condition to go on the morning announcements, and Tyree sort of told us that we were supposed to make sure that very thing didn't quite happen, and she was not very happy with my decision to not let her go on the morning announcements.
Good times.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, you know what I mean? I have no experience getting hit the way that was Jawan Jennings got hit, but I have been spat on before, and you move on. It's okay. You definitely are like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. And like, it sounds gross to talk about, and like, I wish it wouldn't have happened, but like, you move on. It's not that big of a deal. It's kind of like being pooped on by a bird. You know what I mean? Nobody really wants to get pooped on by a bird, but like, it happens, and then you just move on, you know? What are you going to do?
But if a bird comes up and punches you in the nuts, then you're angry at it.
That's something you have to deal
with. You got yourself a bird that you should go on the road with. That's a traveling show. If you got a bird that can punch people in the nuts, that's a traveling show. You can be in NBA arenas during half times. You can follow Red Panda. You can follow that one dog that does all the stuff with the hula hoops. You can follow that one lady that balances on the ball. Have you seen her? You guys check out the halftime shows we'll talk about that during NBA.
My favorite part about this entire segment is Williams just sitting there saying, I don't want to talk about this.
No, he definitely does not. But you know what Williams does want to talk about? He wants to talk about somebody that's making foolish decisions, somebody that is going against the norm, somebody that has to be called out for foolishness. Are you serious?
Williams is so excited he forgot to unmute his microphone. He's thinking, Chris, are you serious talking about the Bears like that?
That's how literally wanted to talk during the last part. He just left himself on mute.
Oh man, my "Are you serious?" goes back to Chip Kelly from the Raiders, the former OC. It took him a whole half to figure out that we should not be hiking the ball from under center versus Myles Garrett and the behemoth that he is. And then they tried to chip Myles Garrett with the tiny Ashton Genty. And it's like, what are these offensive coordinators doing? You have to have heavy personnel versus an outstanding defensive line like Cleveland's. Put two tight ends in. You have two tight ends on your roster, if you believe it or not. And you have to have two guys on Myles Garrett at all times. It took him a whole half to figure that out. The Raiders had been, I guess, there's locker room issues with the Raiders. Rumors are coming out where just everybody is sick of this team. Pete Carroll's probably not long for this team, but and he had to fire somebody, so he fired Chip Kelly. Unbelievable. I mean, Chip Kelly has had a storied career with Oregon and offensive coordinator for Ohio State, but and one good year with the Eagles, but other than that, he's had a few bad seasons. So the Raiders kicked him to the curb. And he ruined my survivor pick, Rod. I thought there was no way Cleveland. I gave all those stats how Cleveland was terrible on the road, and they went in and they just punked the Raiders like the Raiders are. I mean, the Raiders might be the worst team in football, other than the Titans.
You forgot about blood, Williams. You forgot about blood. Shedeur Sanders has that primetime blood flowing in him, and he just showed up. He got his first time to start, and he just showed up. He played not very well, but he played well enough to win, and that's really all that counted for the Browns. You know what I mean? It was a low bar for him.
He is who they wanted him to be.
How about this? The QBR in that game. I had the better QBR with Geno in that game, 12.8. Shedeur had 8.8.
Hey, Shedeur Sanders threw a 70-yard touchdown pass, so the ball traveled 4 yards. Big deal.
I can't remember who it was, but I heard somebody say that somebody had a QBR in a game where if they literally would have just dropped back and thrown the ball into the ground every time, last week, they would have had a higher QBR than what they actually had for trying.
Yeah. Eli pulled a 0.0 in a game against the Ravens way back in the day. He was like 4 of 27 for like 28 yards or something insane with 2 interceptions. It was like a 0.0.
Nice. It was J.J. McCarthy, wasn't it, Williams? I heard you guys say that. It was J.J. McCarthy. If he would have just dropped back in that game and just thrown the ball into the ground, he would have had a better QBR than what he did in that terrible performance. All right, we got through all the stuff we normally get through, Williams. Let's burn through our against the spread picks, Survivor and Wins League here on the way out so folks can start having their Thanksgiving.
Yeah, real quick. Let's take Steelers +4 -120 on MGM versus the Bills on Sunday.
Who's quarterbacking?
The Bills are down. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
Is he okay?
The Bills are down. Yeah, he's all right. The Bills are down their right tackle in this one. I think the Steelers can get some pressure here. How about this? The Bills are a top 5 defense versus 11 personnel, but versus heavy personnel, they are dead last. And remember what the Atlanta Falcons did to the Buffalo Bills earlier this year, ran for 170 yards out of heavy personnel. What do the Steelers like to do? They love to run out of heavy personnel, 12 personnel, 13 personnel, get those 3 tight ends out there, get the behemoth Dwayne Washington, 311 pounds. And so it's as simple as that, man.
Love that guy. Listen, we got to pause. We got to pause real quick, dude. Love that guy. It's the first time he's come up all year on the show. Absolutely love anytime that guy gets a catch. Like, and everybody else loves anytime that guy makes a play, right? Because he's one of those guys. I talked earlier about how you can be watching a game on no sound. Anytime that guy makes a catch, we're going to go back to him on the sidelines, right? We're going to be then focusing in on him for the next couple of plays because the guys in the booth are clearly telling some story about him. He is a big-time favorite anytime that dude does something.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's gigantic. He's gigantic. And I don't have to go over all the underdog stats of Tomlin here. We've discussed that nonstop over this pod. So this is a little mini rah-rah Tomlin spot too after coming off a loss in Chicago. So I think this Bills team is overrated. I do not trust them. I don't trust their rushing defense at all. And there's only so much that Josh Allen can do. Give me the Steelers +4. I think there's way too many. I think the Steelers can win this game. Yeah, and I don't think the Steelers are even that good a team. So give me the Steelers +4 at home against Buffalo.
Nice. Jimmy Jam, I'm going to ask you about this game this way. Is there a chance that the jewel of the coaching vacancies this offseason is up in Buffalo and Josh Allen?
If they keep losing, I think so. At some point, you got to give people time, but McDermott's had a ton of time here. He's gone through a few coordinators as well, but yeah, something has to happen. But also this GM, he kind of falls into the Mahomes where you have a terrific quarterback, so you take advantage of that and you don't give him the receivers he needs. And right now, he doesn't have the receivers, again, that he needs. So I think that this would be 3 in a row, right? So yeah, that could be something that we need to look at for sure. Bill Belichick maybe going to Buffalo. Who knows?
Listen, it could also end up being Pittsburgh that has an opening at the end of this year, depending on how they finish out.
Both these teams.
Because people are starting to get fed up with Tomlin. 19 years.
I don't want to hear it.
No,
Chris, no. This show is not going to be part of any of that. We are not.
Wow.
This the backbone. No, the backbone of this show has been our love of Mike Tomlin and his aviators and his Steeler jackets and his rah-rah spots and his comeback and his stats against the spread. Like, we have formed a football podcast almost on Mike Tomlin's back, Chris. We are not going to be part of the football intelligentsia that are hopping on. We're not going to be these yinzers in Pittsburgh yelling about Mike Tomlin. There are 20 franchises in the NFL that would kill for this guy as their head coach. We're not going to be party to it, Chris.
Listen, I'm more of a yinzer than you are, and I haven't been on any Mike Tomlin Pittsburgh Steeler train fandom at all in the history of this podcast.
You have trashed the good people of Pittsburgh on this podcast before. You have said that you were happy to be out of that town. I am the champion of Pittsburgh here. I eat pierogies on an almost weekly basis. What are we talking about here?
Pierogies. Put that on your bingo cards, folks. Pierogies.
That's what I'm here for. I just pull references out of nowhere. I mean, come on. It's Thanksgiving. People are eating. Why wouldn't I go to a food reference? Williams, Giants, Pats, Jameis, start number 3. I was a week early. Williams, I was a week early. If I'd have said we'd had the Jameis celebration for week number 2, they lost, but I don't care about that. Give me a more entertaining game than what Jameis played last week.
Yeah, it's coming to a point where we got to get Jameis on a football team from here on out for the rest of his career. I mean, he's just pure entertainment. I don't know if he's starting this one, Rod, though, but I don't care. I am taking the Giants +7.5, -115 at New England. That's across the board here on Monday Night Football. I think there's some heart here with this Giants team, and now I think they're getting Jackson Dart back, which is, as much as we like Jameis, I think Jackson Dart gives them a better chance to actually win the game. The Giants' biggest strength is the D-line.
I just did this whole wind-up and this whole pitch, and you just said Jackson Dart gives them a better chance than Jameis? There's Williams again, Jimmy, just undercutting me with his facts and reality.
We already know that Jameis can.
He cares not what you say.
Jameis can go out into routes, Rod. You use him as a receiver now. He's wildcat quarterback receiver now.
Those
for your
those trick plays were awesome. Yeah, the Giants' biggest strength is the D line, and the Pats will be down 2 starters on their O line now. Big rookie left tackle Will Campbell is out, and their left guard Jared Wilson is out. So their whole left side is out here. And the Pats were in a dogfight down to the wire versus Cincy last week. Remember, Joe Flacco gave them the easiest pick six ever in that game. So if you take that off the board, the Pats offense only scored 19 points versus the worst DVOA defense of all time here. Yes, the Bengals are now the worst defensive DVOA team since they started tracking that stat back in the 70s. And remember, the Bengals stuffed this Patriots team 7 times at the goal line because the Bengals had a couple of penalties in there. The Giants interim coach, like you guys said, Mike Kafka, he's trying to get a job next year. He's pulling out all the stops, throwing to Jameis, flea flickers. Wan'Dale Robinson actually going down the field, has over 150 yards. So I think the Giants are live here, man. I think this Patriots team, Chris said it earlier, they played a super, super easy schedule, and they obviously get another easy game here with the Giants, but I think the Giants are a much better team than 2-8. They've had 5 either or games, and they've all went against the Giants this year. So give me the Giants plus 7.5 in this one. I think that's too many points on Monday Night Football.
See, Jim Williams just said it right there, right? You're only close in horseshoes and hand grenades, but Williams just said it right there, right? You give me 5 of those Giants games to go my way. They got 7 wins, and all of a sudden I'm looking live on that prediction I made at the beginning of the year. I think there's some talent on this team. Listen, I went all in on the Pats because I decided that I really disliked Tom Brady and I really disliked Bill Belichick, and then I had nothing against the good people of New England, and Drake May seems like a nice fellow. So, I really went on all the Pats, but I agree. They're a bit of a paper champion, I think, here, Jimmy. What do you think? Giants live?
They are live, but is this, the Pats are going to lose one of the next couple of games just because that they have to. Is this the game, though, that you're going to put all your money on to have them lose? I don't see it right now. I think Jameis can do a lot of great things, and he should be a starting quarterback. He's better than 10 quarterbacks that are going to start this weekend, no question about it. But I don't know if the Giants have enough because they do have a lot of injuries.
Chris, your Patriots. You called them out earlier. What do you think about this game?
He loves the Patriots.
With so much of my black heart. I think the Patriots have had an easy schedule. I think the Giants are an unknown quantity at this point in time. I think 7.5 points is a crazy spread. I don't think New England's that good either. Yeah, the Giants don't scare me in the NFC East where the Cowboys are, so the only thing that can help me is the Patriots losing to help the Colts, so go Giants.
You know what else is a crazy spread? Victories, which is the amount, the first place in the wins league, our handicapper, Josh Williams. Frankly, the way I see it, all things are right with the world. We bring Williams on here as the football expert. If he's not winning the wins league, something is wrong. He's got 52. Chris, the old man, the guy with the most experience, also makes the most sense that he's going to come in. He's at second with 47. I'm right behind the old man with 45. And that's the wins league. We can probably go ahead and talk about the survivor pool at this point. And I will start talking about the survivor pool. I will wear it. I lost again. 2 straight weeks in a row. I have lost survivor. I have 5 deaths on the year. It's not going very well for me in survivor. I tied at the beginning of the year for the actual real legit survivor, and then it has not gone well for me since then. But Jimmy Jam, it's gone wonderful for you in survivor. You've been winning since week 6, my friend.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about that. It's one thing I'm doing right. So let's continue this. It is getting a little bit more difficult, though, because there are so many teams I can't pick from, because not all of us can pick one team twice like other people on the podcast can.
Ouch.
So I'm going to go with Denver over Washington. I think the Broncos are going to win this one in Washington, which means Washington fans get ready because there's going to be a big upset.
Nah, man, I think the Commandos are done. I think it's 1-2-3 Cancun, basically already for that team. Jaden Daniels isn't going to come back. I know he wants to, but if they're smart, they won't let him come back, so it's done there. I like that pick. Chris, what'd you do in the survivor pool last week?
Chris is so excited he forgot to unmute.
Sorry about that. Yep. I won again because I picked
good.
the 49ers, right? So that was I believe my 5th win. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My 6th win in a row. I was also going to pick the Broncos, but since he beat me to them, I am going to take a team. I can't believe I'm going to do this. I just don't believe in Atlanta. I'm going to take the Jets to make it interesting.
Yes, I like it. Put your money where your mouth is, Chris.
Chris, you are a better man than I. If I was tied with Jimmy right now on the kind of streak that you are, I would have just had the same pick as Jimmy, and I'd have been, we're riding or dying together, my friend. We're rolling into next week, or you and I are both going down. So you are a braver man than I, old man.
I'm 2 up on him, thank you.
Well, you just said he had 6 in a row. I thought that's how many you had.
He has.
See, miscounting up there
I
again,
have 7.
Chris. Get some better reading glasses. This is garbage out of you.
No.
Unmute yourself at the right time and get better reading glasses.
Yeah, see, yeah, it was. It's all right, Chris. You're good. You're good, bud.
Williams, how about you, bud? It's your survivor pick.
Yeah, I was terrible last week with the Raiders. So I'm 8-4 now. Jimmy and Chris are tied at 9-3. I'm going to go with your Indianapolis Colts.
Let's go. Get that win back.
Colts over Texans. I like it. Colts are definitely going to have something to say with the AFC South. They got a bunch of division games the rest of the way. So they'll have their own, they can write their own ticket, so to speak, in the AFC South at least. Number 1 seed may have floated out the door. My pick is a bit of a wild one, but Jimmy said it there. He actually dug at me because I mistakenly picked the same team twice, didn't realize it. They didn't realize it either and didn't call me out for it until a week later, but it still ultimately is on me for picking the same team twice, so I'll wear that. I did it, but in an effort to make sure I don't do it again, I will pick a team that I'm certain I have not picked this year. I'm also fairly certain nobody has ever picked this team this year. They just kind of sneak by. Nobody talks about them, but they're kind of in the running for the NFC South. They've actually played pretty decent football for a couple weeks in a row, and a team that I think is riding a little high on the horse, getting a little full of themselves, getting really smoke blown up about the MVP chances of their quarterback. They're the number 1 team in the NFC. Guess what they're doing, Chris? They're doing something you don't like. They're flying all the way across from the West Coast to the East Coast to play a 1 o'clock game on Sunday in Carolina. So give me the Panthers over the Rams. This is the kind of pick you can make, Jimmy, when you've died as many times as I have.
Again, the Rams are probably going to lose over the next few weeks. Is this the game you pick? The Panthers are very, very bad, but yet also are going to win the South now, I think. So I think that's kind of a fun pick. Williams, on the other hand, hated it so much he just left. He didn't even care.
He certainly did. We didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to Williams. We didn't even get a chance to say happy Thanksgiving to him. But you know what, Jimmy? I guess that means we'll all wish Thanksgiving tidings to the listeners when we get done running the fast break and talking about wrestling. Let's go.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye, Internet.
We're just going to have to. There we go. All right. Welcome to the Fast Break, the fastest 15 minutes in the NBA. Fast Break never works. I don't know why. It's just kind of a weird thing. Which is kind of the theme of the NBA this year, Rod.
Look at you.
People's bodies not working. Rod, what is going on?
It really is becoming just an absolute scourge, isn't it? I mean, like, I would never fancy to come on here and tell anybody that I'm an absolute NBA expert, but I am definitely confident in saying that I like the NBA more than almost anybody that you know, right? Meaning the listener that's listening right now, I like the NBA almost better than anybody you know. And every night I turn on a game, Jimmy, and I'm like, who's that guy? Who's this guy? Like, I got a pretty good handle on like 7, 8 deep on a whole lot of teams in the NBA. And every night I turn on a game and I'm like, this guy's last name is Tucker. Who's that? This guy's last name is Johnson. Who's this guy? And it's
Johnson.
Just, and shout out to all the dudes getting 10 days out there, like our guy Mr. Cooper did on Hanging with Mr. Cooper back in the day on TGIF Friday on ABC. But it's not great for the NBA product, I guess, but we're still having great games. So, I mean, 6 of one, half dozen the other, Jimmy Jam. You want to see a star or do you want to see a good game?
Can't we get both ever, Chris? I mean, it goes back to our discussion last week, which we don't have to rehash as much, but it is kind of getting just really bad.
Yeah, it is. We've also seen teams get fined already for resting players who aren't injured at all, right? We saw it happen with the Cavs. So it's at least the games we're getting are good. Right, Rod? I mean, the games we're getting are good. Whether or not we know who these guys are or we haven't been familiar with their game, maybe for some of these people out there, they do recognize this kid because they went to hit their alma mater or their favorite school, right? Maybe that helps bring in a little bit more viewership to the NBA and small doses. I say more power to it. Give me guys that can stay out on the floor consistently. How about that? I'll get behind that all the time.
Sounds good to me. Let's talk about something else right now, Rod. Let's see if this works or not. We'll see. I don't know.
Gotta admit, I'm a little bit conflicted about this week's Rodham Nation. We're heading into Thanksgiving, right? There's a lot to be thankful for. You know, I don't want to get too angry at anything. We just talked about all the injuries. That doesn't need to be rehashed in Rodham Nation in any such way. And then we got what we hear in the NBA sometimes referred to as a revenge game. The Sacramento Kings were playing the Denver Nuggets. And somehow we were fed a storyline of Russell Westbrook has to get revenge against the Denver Nuggets. Well, the Kings happened to win this game, and Russell Westbrook did what Russell Westbrook does. If you look at the box score and see his 21 points and his 6 rebounds and his 11 assists, it seems like he had a good game. But if you dive a little bit deeper, you see that his true shooting percentage was not incredibly great. You see that his efficiency score was minus 13, so that the Nuggets were plus 13 over the Kings all the minutes he was out there on the floor. And then Russ proceeds to talk a little bit of smack and say, well, you know, I don't want to be in a place that doesn't want me. And that was the last straw for me. Russ, I try to support you for going hard all the time and being a guy that wants to give it every 110% to win every game, every night. But Russ, you opted out of your contract, buddy. I'm sorry. I can't live in a world where you try to navigate a narrative that the Denver Nuggets threw you out of town when you voluntarily opted out of your contract to become a free agent. Like, I'm all for creating people that are against you to have the chip on your shoulder because you seem like that angry kind of athlete. But no, bud, you don't get to say you were thrown out of a place when you opted out and left freely on your own. I'm sorry. I can't deal with people crafting false narratives, Jimmy. I'll deal with a lot with Russell Westbrook, but I will not deal with that. So he gets Rodham Nation this week.
Chris, I forgot about that he opted out. That's amazing.
Yeah, but when and how often does Russ make a whole lot of sense to begin with, right? People live in their own truths now, right? And maybe there was something below the surface between him. I mean, Denver did change coaches last year too, right? Maybe there was more stuff going on before that. Who knows, right? Who knows? And frankly, who cares? I don't necessarily care what Russ says anymore. I think he still plays hard. I still think he puts forth more effort than probably most NBA stars do now, right? But I'm not worried about what he's saying. Right. And
I cared enough to make it my Rodham Nation. Should I be offended that you just said you don't care anything about my Rodham Nation? Should I be mad about that?
No, Rod, because I am shocked and proud that you actually went and did some analytics, went and got his true shooting percentage and went and got some deep stats. Like, that's not you, Rod. You barely want to talk about somebody's stocks. And you're going his plus minuses and everything just to make sure you get your point across. Proud of you.
Thank you, buddy.
Russell Westbrook was in the 2008 NBA draft class. There are still, I think there's still actually 5 players. I don't think this person's still playing. This says there's still 6 players. As of 2024, end of the 2024 season, there were 6 players still in the league. Name one besides Russell Westbrook. 2008 NBA draft.
Andre Drummond? He's been around forever.
Clay wasn't in that draft because Clay's an old guy too. Well, LeBron was an older draft.
Yeah.
Steph?
I think CP3 was 2005. He's the only one in his draft class.
Kevin Love?
Steph Curry.
Kevin Love is one of them. Kevin Love is still technically an NBA basketball player.
No, he's actually getting a little run out in Utah. He's getting a little more run than my guy Filipowski. I'm not sure if I like it.
Brooke Lopez, heard of him?
Brooke. Robin was then. Robin's not technically in anymore, is he?
No. DeAndre Jordan?
Oh, DeAndre.
Is Eric Gordon still
and then
on the
Middleton?
Team?
Was
No.
Middleton that draft?
No.
Middleton was a second rounder.
Gordon was
sure?
on the Clippers, the most recent, I remember. I don't know if he's still there or not.
And is Batum still? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, Batum.
Yeah,
Who
Batum's
knows?
a Clipper.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the guys that are still in the league. Pretty cool, huh? Speaking of the league, we have to go to our wins league. Okay, here's the thing. Of the 3 of us, I am still the reigning defending, okay? The wins league is awesome this year because we have 5 different players. Rod, Chris, and Derek are all tied at 48 wins. Unbelievable that you're all tied with 48. I have 55, and the greatest fantasy manager of all time, Wu-Tang, has 61 wins. Old Rod by his Detroit Pistons second-round pick. I think that was a good pick by him. How many have they won in a row now?
You know what else he's fueled by? I'm pretty sure I gave
13.
him the Suns.
You did give him the Suns, which is not very good because that's killing them right there. That's 11 wins for the Suns.
Yeah, that was really, and then the teams I picked, like, honestly, the Wins League was not my brightest shining moment for me in my NBA takery.
Actually, the Heat, your last round pick, has 12 wins. They got the most wins of your entire team. Chris, have you had a chance to watch the Heat? Do you like their new style? And Tyler Hero's coming back.
I haven't been able to watch the Heat much at all, fortunately.
They are fun.
I've been real Pacer-centric more than anything, Jimmy, right? As bad as we've been.
What are you doing? All you Pacers fans need to stop. You guys need to stop. All right, just stop.
No, we're
Start
fans,
looking
Rod. We don't
No.
jump from team to
No.
team like some people do.
It's not jumping from team to team. I didn't tell you to just scorn the Pacers. I said stop torturing yourself by watching this year's roster that's going absolutely nowhere, full of dudes who are signing 10-day contracts. What's the point? You should start looking into the Boozer kid who's playing at Duke. You should start looking into DeBanza, right? You should start looking into Peterson, who's playing at Kansas. You guys should absolutely know who like the top 6 picks are, so that wherever the Pacers may fall there, you absolutely are honed in on every one of those dudes, because this is the Pacers' chance, Chris. It's next year. It's not right now. None of this year matters. You, as somebody who comes on an NBA podcast every week, should stop watching this Pacers team that's full of dudes who are signing 10-day contracts and watch a few of the other teams, please.
No, I'm a fan, Rod. I'm going to watch my Pacers.
Rod goes on a diatribe for 2 minutes, and Chris responds with, no. I see both, Rod, because you do want to watch your team, you want to support, but you also have to realize that they really do need to lose a decent amount. So at least, they're one of the 5 worst teams in the league, and right now they're the second worst team because the Wizards are just god-awful. If any team deserves to win the lottery, it's the Indiana Pacers. And coming back next year, when you have everybody back healthy, maybe, that's a team to reckon with, don't you think, Rod?
I agree with you, Jimmy, but I think we're going to need to have our guy Dax Storm, who really is the resident Pacer fan around here, season ticket holder, because Dax seems more of the belief he wants to just trade the first-round pick and get the Pacers a legitimate center and just absolutely roll it back with the team from last year and the team that they have this year, and then just bring Tyrese back. And I'm like, no. Dax, you're the Pacers. You need to stack talent. You want a top 3 pick, and go ahead and make that pick and get a center some other way. So who knows what Pacers fans actually truly want, Jimmy?
You do not want AD on the Pacers. Come on. Please.
Want Giannis on
Right,
the
Chris?
Pacers.
Giannis. Who's going to trade Giannis to the Pacers?
Well,
There's no... The Pacers could offer them their entire team and the Indianapolis
TJ.
Indians.
Except
and
TJ.
the Colts, for that matter.
I'm just
TJ's
saying,
untouchable, though.
it is the year, it is the time, not necessarily the year, but it is the time in the NBA where players demand trades. And I'm going to tell you, according to the list on my Jester, there's an organization from Wisconsin that may end up getting an ultimatum given to them.
All right, well, I guess we're going to have to go right there to the Kings Hardwood Hierarchy.
Teasing his own list.
I learned it from watching you, Rod. All right. King and Queen do not change because they just keep winning every single week. And I'm talking about the Thunder and the Pistons, all right? And the Thunder, you have that thrown by the hair of your chinny chin chin because the Pistons have won 13 in a row, and they are looking like a legit monster right now, all right? And then I'm going to give it up to your team from above the border, Rod, the Canadians of Toronto, the Raptors,
Get that
and
Cobra
their
staff.
staff.
Get the Cobra staff, baby.
Right? They have won 8 in a row. All right. That's the next best winning streak in the NBA right now, and they are looking good. Scotty Barnes is looking good. That team is a well-built team, guys. They are looking tough.
They got a lot of dudes that can handle, and they got a lot of height when they want to be big. So, when those guys all show up and play a little bit of defense and they're all hot shooting, the Raptors are just as good as anybody on the East. I agree with you there, Chris.
All right, hey, Chris, real quick. I just did something. I did a quick trade machine. If you want AD, You have to give up a bunch of picks, first of all, right? Or a couple picks, maybe. But just to get the salaries, you'd have to give up Obi Toppin, TJ McConnell, Benedict Mathurin, Jarris Walker, Ben Shepherd, and Johnny Furphy.
See, Furphy and McConnell are off the table for me, untradeable.
Yep, that's 6 for 1. Is it worth it?
Not to get AD. I don't want AD. No. I do agree we need a center. A legit
Do
center.
you agree that Johnny Furphy needs more minutes?
Probably. More opportunity.
Why are
Think
we
if his
not
name
playing
wasn't
Johnny
Johnny Furphy, he'd get more minutes?
Why are we giving Garrison Miller? I mean, God bless him, but he's in off a 10-day. Why are we giving that guy minutes and not giving minutes to Furphy? Furphy was a freaking first-round draft pick. Like, what are we doing?
We don't see practice, Rod. There's got to be something going on in practice that we don't see. That's the only thing
And
I
it's
can
just
think
over.
of.
Furphy doesn't.
Also, it's just over for Jarris Walker. So, like, if I were the Pacers, I'd just trade him before you can't get anything for him. Because I always
he's
thought the
Patrick
guy had a
Williams
little
for
bit
the
of
Bulls.
balance. Yeah. I mean, he's Carlisle will not play that guy. So, Pacers should try to cut their losses with him too, man. It's over in Indiana. Dax, I'm sorry. I love you, buddy. You're welcome to come on the podcast and tell me I'm wrong, but it should be over for the Pacers.
All right, Chris, who is your king again?
The Thunder.
Yes, OKC again. And your queen?
Pistons.
Your prince?
And Toronto. And their Cobra staff.
Toronto Cobras. And finally, your jester?
It's Milwaukee. For multiple reasons. They're on a 5-game losing streak. They've only won 3 out of the last 10, and most of that time was with Giannis. He's only missed the last few games. They have not done near enough. They've made mistake after mistake in off seasons trying to build some sort of team around Giannis, and they just haven't been able to redo it. And they're going to lose him, I think, after this season. I think this is his last season in Milwaukee.
That's wild.
It
I don't
could
know
be.
about that.
Coming down to Indy, be a
That was
Pacer.
one of the wilder jester calls. Like, usually Chris likes to make it more about, like, what's actually happening on the court. Like, and I don't know how many
they've
times
lost
the
5
past
in a
you-
row.
Yeah, but I don't know how many times in the past you've thrown a team under. It's like, hey, you guys, your best player just got hurt, Jester. Like, I don't know if you've ever done that to anybody before. That seems awful disingenuous to the good people of Milwaukee. They got cheese curds up there.
You want
They got
to?
Pabst
There's a
Blue
little
Ribbon beer
caveat.
up there.
Giannis is on my fantasy team, and maybe I took this a little bit personally. That's all I'm saying
go.
is that Milwaukee is the jester this week, Rod.
Listen to Algonquin for the good land up there. They were the first city to elect a Democratic Socialist mayor. I mean, come on, Chris. There's big things happening in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were also the first state that had a city nominate and elect a cat for a mayor. I believe that happened in Wisconsin, so good job.
Listen, you're telling me that
And with
cat...
that, you've been
was
listening.
it Toonsis? Was it Toonsis, the cat who could drive? Was he also a governor? Did that happen? Did Toonsis ever wrestle? That's what the question is, and we'll answer it soon.
That was a deep SNL cut right there.
It's for the real OGs.
Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Knows podcasting network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod. And hey, we just talked about a lot of injuries in the NBA. We have more injuries to talk about in the WWE. We had a really solid Penta versus Solo Sikoa 2-minute match on Raw because Penta went off the side railing, did a Hurricane Rana, landed on his shoulder, went to commercial break, had to come back. Solo Sikoa goes on. Rod, I hear from Mr. Dave Meltzer that was supposed to happen anyway. The match was supposed to just go about 8 or 9 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised by that Penta probably wasn't going to move on any further into this tournament, and that Solo definitely was. But yeah, we would have been able to see a good match. Perhaps a few more minutes just went to my guy, Carmelo Hayes, who I'm just going to go ahead and mention here, Jimmy, because I bet he wasn't going to come up anywhere else in the podcast.
Who's coming up next? 100%.
Okay. I was going to say, I haven't sold my stock on him yet, so I'll hold off till you get there. But yeah, it's a bummer to see Penta get hurt. You know, I mean, we kind of wondered where they ultimately would take him. But now there's no chance they're going to take him anywhere for a little while because he's hurt. And you just hate to see when a guy's hot and he's out of storylines because of an injury. That's just...
Chris, have you ever had to pop your shoulder back into its socket and then go wrestle?
If you've ever been put in a straitjacket, you know the answer is yes. So my biggest issue, though, is that there needs to be some sort of investigation into Triple H and this so-called bracket that he came up with, all right? Why is it that our guy, LA Knight, is getting another mystery opponent?
Why is it a so-called bracket? It looks like a bracket. You could question with how the
They
people
gave
been
us the
put in
bracket
there.
after 9 matches had been done.
Yeah, but don't call it a so-called bracket.
Yeah,
It is at
with
least a
mystery
bracket.
opponents showing up out of nowhere.
There, that's the problem. The seeding.
I think
You have a
Triple H
problem
is
with
trying to sabotage LA Knight.
I will say this: if LA Knight does not beat his mystery opponent, which they've already taped it, so I don't actually know if he beat him or not, but it would be a travesty if LA Knight does not beat his.
Would not be a
We have
travesty, Jimmy. Not if
Rusev
that opponent
versus-
is one particular person.
Spoiler alert: I think it's the Miz. I'm almost positive it's the Miz. Yeah, I know.
That stinks.
So I actually
Sorry,
think it was
Miz.
an injury and not.
Sorry, Miss, but that's
Yeah, sorry about that, buddy. Rusev and Jey Uso are on that side too. Do you think Rusev's going to get the win or Uso's going to get the win?
It's got to be Uso, right?
Give me Rusev, please. Give me Rusev. Uso doesn't need to be.
If LA Knight wins, do you want to see LA Knight and Jey Uso again? I'm fine with it, but I kind of want.
Okay, maybe Chris is right. Maybe Rusev does win there.
Yeah.
I'm also not a Jey Uso fan. I guess it depends on who they're trying to push more. Are they going to be pushing our guy, LA Knight, like they should, or are they going to be pushing Rusev?
Or is
Certainly
Jey
not gonna
Uso
push
so
Rusev.
hurt from War Games that
He has to
can't
get
really do
replaced,
very well?
and they have to call his
Well,
name.
no, nice. No, but that Rusev gets the win because Uso's so hurt from War Games. That could be a storyline they could do. And then we have Solo Sikoa and Gunta going against each other. Hard-hitting match coming up. This is going to be a good one, Ron. This is going to be angry Solo. Not happy Solo. But they already gave the rub to Solo a few years ago at WrestleMania with John Cena. I don't think he's going to beat Gunther. Gunther is going to go to the finals here.
For sure. For sure. But is this where we shout out Mello then, Jimmy?
Yeah, so let's talk about Mello and this match with Gunther. Mello has one of the biggest things going against him, and that's he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal because no one ever comes back from that. He had a terrific match with Gunther. They did not pull the trigger, and that place would have erupted, especially after, and I love it because he ends all the matches with that power bomb, and they had him kick out. Awesome. Loved it, Rod.
I did too. I was really surprised by that because I was like, as soon as Gunther went for that power bomb, I'm like, oh man, that's it. Then I was like, oh my God, Mello kicked out. I was like, are they gonna? And then it didn't go much longer after that. Gunther wiped him out again. We talked, Jimmy, on this podcast, and Chris joined us in love for Karrion Kross, and so much of the reasoning behind our Karrion Kross love was A, he's awesome. B, it was proof of concept from his run in NXT. And Jimmy, we never have mentioned the dominant run Mello had as the man who was running NXT for a good while, right? Like he got huge pops down there, and he got a big pop from that crowd. I was surprised. I really thought that they had fumbled him, and the Miz stuff kind of just mismanaged it, and I was wrong. Miz, I was bummed to see that he's going to end up being in this tournament, but he does do one thing. He continues to give guys a storyline, and somehow they come out on the other side of the Miz, and they're getting pops again, or they're on to the next thing. So, like, Miz is a rinse and repeat, on to the next thing guy, and Melo's so good. He's so good. He's definitely short, and that's probably going to be against him a little bit as things move forward because it's the age-old thing, Jimmy. It just is, but he is so, so good.
You know what you do then? Don't put him in against the tall guy. Chris, what do you think about the Mello Gunther match?
It was fantastic. It was great, right? I was right there with the crowd. I was right there with you guys. I couldn't believe he kicked out when he did. I thought that was it. Part of me would have loved to see him take out Gunther with a chokehold or something, put him to sleep. That would have made me laugh and chuckle. And then whether or not he went on, that could have been a good start to a feud between Gunther and him to build him up even more, maybe. So I loved it.
So 2 more quick things, and then we're going to get into our predictions for War Games coming up this weekend. The opening segment, which I believe no one talked for 14 minutes or so. Roman Reigns comes out and just gets everybody to love him. Says one word. Cody Rhodes comes out. Then CM Punk comes out. Then we have the back and forth. Did you think that this kind of opened up some doors for down the road?
I suppose, right? I mean, anytime you have footage that we can then cut together in a montage that has these 3 men in the ring together, right? We can then have these 2 break off or these 3 meet again. So we certainly have storyline potential there, right? Roman saying, you guys figure out whose team it is. Certainly, right, is a bit of let me needle at you guys a little bit to possibly getting you going back and forth. Roman not saying which title he thinks would look good over his shoulder was absolutely
CM Punk
perfect.
said it was Cody. CM Punk said he was talking to Cody.
Well, we all know that CM Punk, as much as I've grown to like the man, certainly has a high opinion of himself. So certainly no one would deign ever try to take the belt off of CM Punk now. But what I noticed, Jimmy, and I wonder if you're going to back me up on this, it was a little bit of a pop off, for lack of a better term there, right? I think that's basically what we had. We had a little bit of a whose pop is bigger here. Let's go ahead and just stand right here. Let's get our ruler out and let's find out which one is bigger. And I don't know about you, but I think Roman Reigns quite had the crowd popping a little bit harder than either CM Punk or Cody Rhodes, everybody's favorite. So once again, Chris, you cannot like Roman Reigns, but damn it, I love him. He can not show up for 6 weeks, and every time he does, I start getting goosebumps, and I'm like, let's go. Entertainment is ahead.
Anytime he makes CM Punk or Phil look like a petulant child is perfect in my book. All right, I'll be right behind Roman when it comes to that.
And then we had another promo that was about 30 years too late. It was Attitude Era-esque with Little John Cena coming out and Dominic Mysterio. I didn't feel this one. The fact that Little John Cena turned basically on Dom Mysterio and then Dom Mysterio beat him up. I don't know. I thought it was a little bit too much of a waste there. Chris, what are your thoughts on that?
I enjoyed it, right?
Okay.
I did. It got a laugh out of me. I thought it was perfect that Dom couldn't even get his joke to go right. Okay. Right? He couldn't. And then, of course, if he's going to be a bad guy, that's what a bad guy has to do, get mad at the person because your joke doesn't go right. So, I don't know. I thought it wasn't as bad.
Okay. Rod.
I guess I'm going to have to be the stick in the mud. As soon as Little John Cena showed up, I was like, no. I was like, we're doing this? I was like, somebody said that this was a good idea now? Somebody said this was a good idea now? And then when he came down to the ring and he started talking, the one thing I will say is I like the guy's presence, right? As far as people who've come in for a one-off, he wasn't afraid to say his lines on the microphone, and he was trying to have a little bit of a character, right? He was doing his best John Cena, but then when Dom and him started fighting, I was cringing even more. I was like, oh no. I was like, I do not think that this works very, very well, but who am I? I guess I'm just too old now, but I was a little uncomfortable at it, Jim. I didn't like it much.
Yeah, I just didn't think it fit in any of the storyline. However, Chris, I do agree that having Dom, his plan just went to the wayside right away. Was kind of more character-like than it has been, but yeah, that's okay. And then finally, with Raw, AJ Lee, I just want to shout out. I thought it was funny when she's like, I would normally rip your head off, but therapy works, and does that smile with the little I thought that was funny, but overall, that was a long segment that it was fine. They wanted to get over a couple people. I'm really looking forward, though, Rod. I'm looking forward to the War Games pay-per-view. I think it's going to be a good pay-per-view.
Let's hope so, because their last couple for ESPN have been pretty lackluster, in my opinion, so they really better bring something here at the War Games. I was the first cheerleader for War Games a couple years back when Triple H brought it back. I was all in watching old NXT War Games matches involving Johnny Gargano. Those matches were absolute wars. The first War Games matches between the men was fabulous. The second men's War Game, not as good. The second women's War Games match I thought was absolutely fabulous. Not as fired up for any of the War Games matches this year, but perhaps to pull off something cool. But you're right, the one-on-one matches that are happening, we've got some definite storylines and some things that could happen there. So I'm fired up. It's going to be in San Diego, big football stadium. Those are always cool crowds. Let's go.
And for the first time, YouTube TV, let's go. We have the ESPN Unlimited login, so we are good to go now. I'm very excited about that. Because Netflix, the VPN, those rat jerk faces.
You just have to go to a different server.
Look at you. I love it. The man writes on tablets, but can get the VPN to work. I love it. We have Stephanie Vaquer versus Nikki Bella. And a few they've done a pretty good job with, I think, overall. They kind of condensed it a little bit because we kind of all knew what was going to happen, and like 3 weeks later it happened. But Stephanie Vaquer, Nikki Bella, pretty good high-profile match for Vaquer to have her, a big title defense here. I think she takes it home. Nikki Bella's not going to win this, Rod.
Absolutely not. This is fodder for Stephanie Vaquer's resume. This is, to be able to say a couple weeks from now, she defended against Nikki Bella, former champion. It's just absolute fodder to build Stephanie Vaquer. There's no chance Nikki Bella wins.
And that being said, Chris, who you got?
Give me Vaquer.
Okay, so we have 3 Stephanie. We have John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship in Dominic Mysterio's hometown. I'm going to go last because I'm going to pick it when I go. I don't know on this one. Rod, you seem to be pretty
I really don't know
what I'm
either,
looking
honestly.
for.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I got the Cena hoodie on. You can't see me. The towel's behind me, as always. Let's go, John Cena, one of the GOATs. But you could convince me that this story makes a lot of sense either way it goes. You could tell me that Dominic Mysterio wins the belt right back from him and John doesn't have one for his final match, and I'd be fine, depending on who that opponent is. You could tell me that Dom attempts to cheat here, doesn't pull it off right, the Judgment Day breaks up, and I'd be absolutely fabulous with that. John Cena continues and is the Intercontinental Champion when he fights somebody at Saturday night's main event in Washington, D.C. on December 13th. That would be wonderful, too. So, I don't know. I've hemmed and hawed enough here to say, give me Dominic Mysterio in a dastardly Judgment Day schmozzery.
Chris, who you got?
I'm going to say first that this will be our match of the night. I think this is going to be better than any of the War Games matches or anything else we see. I think this is the match of the night. And yeah, it's a tough one to call because I think John Cena benefits if he has a belt going into this final match. But I think the WWE universe benefits if Dom has as many belts as possible. So give me Dom.
If it's Cena and Gunther, I really think they're not gonna put the belt back on Gunther. There's no reason to.
He's above
So
that
I think,
now.
So I have Mysterio as well, and that's going to put him over, as John Cena wants to do on the way out, put the new guys over. And really, we got to be careful. Dom Mysterio might be world champion in 2026. Maybe we'll have to have a prediction show for that. Speaking of predictions, we have the Women's War Games match, which did the bad guys have the advantage of I don't think they've done that yet. I think it's on Fridays when they do that.
Yeah, they're doing it on SmackDown.
Yeah, so Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, and AJ Lee versus Nia Jax, Legend, Asuka, Kairi Sane, and Becky Lynch. I am going to take the bad guys, Nia Jax, Legend, Kabuki Warriors, and Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair turns on Rhea Ripley in this match. And Charlotte Flair is a bad guy.
I like it, Jimmy. I as much as I love Charlotte Flair, I don't mind her going evil at all. I will still support all things Charlotte Flair, whether she's heel or face. I will further make a prediction. Lash Legend and Nia Jax will be tag team participants for the bad guy team, and they will take on Charlotte and Alexa, and Rhea will come down to the ring, botch some way of trying to help Charlotte and Alexa. Lash and Nia will win the advantage, and that will further start setting up, Jimmy, exactly what you said. So I'm not going to steal your thunder there. You made that ultimate prediction, but I think we'll start laying the seeds on SmackDown that way. Give me the bad guys as well.
Okay. And Chris?
I think you're going to see Rhea and Charlotte's team win. I think Io's going to get the pin against somebody, probably Asuka. I don't think you're going to see any kind of dastardly stuff like that from Charlotte or Rhea. I think what happens is that you'll see Charlotte and Alexa be able to win matches like this, but not be able to get the tag belts back, and then maybe you see them split up from there or something like that. I don't see it happening in this.
Jimmy, I'll make one further prediction.
Yep.
Either person that gets on their back, all right? The only people getting pinned in this match, Kairi Sane gets pinned for the bad guys, Alexa Bliss gets pinned for the good guys. Io's not getting pinned. Rhea's not getting pinned. Charlotte's not getting pinned. Becky's not getting pinned. Asuka's not getting pinned.
Okay, I like that. Look at this. We're getting into this. And then finally, we have CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, the Usos, and Roman Reigns versus The Vision and Brock Lesnar. By the way, shout out to Brock, slipping on that stage, doing the flip, staying in character, having fun. But what are you going to do? Make fun of him? Are you going to mock him in front of him? I don't think so. Chris,
I'm gonna take
this is an interesting one.
I'm gonna take
Who
the
you got?
good guys in this one. All right, and I think I know, or at least you know exactly who I mean. All right, because you just mentioned him with that little somersault, put the hat on.
You, dude.
He single handedly made this team the face of this match. All right, give me Brock, Bronson, Drew, and Logan.
Rod, gimmicks are something that we need to continue to have, and I love Chris, the good guy. He picks the good guys to win the Vision.
Listen, he's in kayfabe at all times. You know what I mean, Jimmy? He absolutely never breaks kayfabe. You know what I mean? Like, you meet Chris in the airport, he's gonna be Drew McIntyre is a face. You know what I mean? Like, Chris just kayfabe all times. You know what I mean? He just absolutely never breaks. So you got to give it up to him on that. Continue to live in a world where I find it awfully hard to call someone who is dastardly feuding with the golden boy Cody Rhodes at the moment a face. But hey, listen, as Chris said earlier in our show, everybody lives their own truth these days. So Chris decides to live his own truth when it comes to Drew McIntyre, and that's fine. I don't want to break his worldview. All right. But what I do want to say is I agree with him, not that they are good guys, but that the bad guys will win the War Games match. I think Logan Paul is going to factor in pretty prominently here in the way that Jimmy was predicting Dominic Mysterio wins a belt in 2026. Perhaps somebody else on this podcast might tell you Logan Paul wins a heavyweight championship belt in 2026.
So I think I made a mistake because I don't think they're going to have two bad guys win. You know, we got a lot of bad guys. Stephanie Vaquer wins is a good guy. But other than that, we've had all the other bad guys win. But I am going to pick the bad guys. And I am going to pick, first of all, I'm going to say Brock Lesnar will be the last person in for his team. There is no way he's going in first. I will tell you that right now, which no one will take any action on that. I know. Roman Reigns is going to go for the Superman punch and punch CM Punk, and Logan Paul to get the pinfall victory on CM Punk for this War Games match, setting up down the road Roman Reigns, CM Punk at WrestleMania.
So you like Reigns Punk at WrestleMania. You don't think my guy's going to be back setting up the blood feud that they were trying to cook up?
I don't think he's going to be back in time.
Yeah, I guess Mania is just kind of 4 months away at this point, isn't it?
He might be, but yeah, it's tough. It sucks.
Okay,
I know.
so if that happens, who's Cody feuding with at WrestleMania then? Is he feuding with Brock again? Because clearly Brock's going to be there because they just showed us that, you know what I mean, the promo stuff.
The People's True Champion, Drew.
Drew's not in that commercial, though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it could be. It could be Brock. But who's going to, yeah, and then you got to figure out who's going to win the Rumble because you kind of want Braun to win the Rumble or come close. Maybe not yet. Maybe this is like Roman Reigns that year that everyone wanted him to win, but Batista won. Maybe then he wins the next year after that.
Why can't Reigns win the Rumble?
Huh?
Why can't Reigns win the Rumble?
He could easily win the Rumble to go on. Yeah, he could. And then you have a month of who's he going to pick.
Yeah. Because we already laid the seeds for that.
Yeah.
I mean, if Punk's going to roll in with the belt and Cody's going to roll in with the belt, clearly we know that Drew McIntyre's not going to get any respect from management. Chris, and I mean this, and you know, I have all respect for Drew McIntyre, the performer. So clearly he's not going to get the respect because they're not going to do it. LA Knight's not going to get it. So who's it going to be? I mean, honestly, who's it going to be? It's got to be Roman, doesn't it?
Gunther.
Or if he Dom, or is it Dom?
Dom.
Does Dom win? Does Dom win? And then that just go, yes. That
Logan's going to be in the Royal Rumble as well.
Logan? Yeah.
You know Logan Paul's going to be there.
All right. See, that's what I mean, Jimmy. That's why I think you're right. War Games is going to be a pretty darn good pay-per-view. I think the folks at ESPN are going to be happy about it because we're going to start getting our way to maybe seeing through the dark muck and the fog to possibly the lighted path that is WrestleMania Vegas.
And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan Knows Podcasting Network. In the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod.
Goodbye. Yeah.
Chelsea Green, Ethan Page, great work.